commissioner for the Department of Transportation. You're also a Los Angeles Zoo commissioner, and that's just your volunteer engagements. In your day job, I mean, you work for the Boys and Girls Club of the San Fernando Valley, in various other endeavors, so I think you're more than qualified, and I am extremely excited that you will be joining on the commission. But I want to give the floor to you and say, and to give you an opportunity to say whatever you would like, as well as maybe if you could focus on some of the priorities that you would have and areas that you want to focus on as a member of this commission.
Excellent. First of all, let me say, well, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you very much to all the council persons that have allowed me to come before you to speak. I'm excited about this opportunity, as I was extremely excited about the Zoo Commission. And it's somewhat of a legacy with regards to Rec and Parks, because my father, Leroy Chase, formerly sat on this commission.
Oh.
I'm excited because one of my big issues, or one of my passions, is working with young people and bringing them opportunities and exposing them to opportunities that they may not necessarily have. It goes beyond, it's a combination of encouraging them to pursue their education. It's encouraging them to live healthier lifestyles. It's helping them to understand that there's a broad spectrum of sports outside of just the basic sports, but not only that, sportsmanship, leadership, and perhaps even exposing them to industries they had never even considered becoming a part of. I love to see both young men and young women being engaged with regards to sports, but even beyond that, STEM, which is very easily tied into a lot of the things that fall under the commission. It's just the careers that fall under that. This is my passion. It's my heart to not only serve you as council persons, serving the citizens of the city of Los Angeles, and serving the young people, and making sure our recreations, our parks are safe, our venues are safe, and that they're always growing and allowing for more opportunities.
Thank you for that. Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Chase, for stepping up and being willing to serve on the commission.
Thank you.
One thing of particular interest to me that is current and will be coming forward fairly soon is the whole agreement between the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Committee and the Department of Recreation and Parks. The whole endeavor there is to expose youth who otherwise may not have the opportunity because of this funding that will be coming forward. And I look forward to your input on working with the committee and with Recreation and Parks on making sure that the funding and the resources go to the children that are most in need.
Yes.
They have it pretty much mapped out in terms of which facilities are could be better utilized in some of our stressed neighborhoods. And so I think you'll bring a wealth of experience to that whole issue, just to make sure that kids in traditionally underserved communities are able to really take advantage of this upcoming resource.
Yes. May I say something?
Sure.
Yes, please.
That's huge because there are so many young people who it's rare when they may even go beyond their communities. I started working on a project to put a field trip together for young people to actually go and see the new stadium being built. Prior to the sport being played there, but the engineering, the design, it goes along with the 2028 Olympics. It's beyond just the sports because we may have, I'm quite sure we have a plethora of gold medalists preparing for the Olympics, but also the engineers, the scientists, the coaches. I mean, I can go beyond the medical field, and so I am so excited to make sure that all young people, especially those who are at a disadvantage, have the opportunity to be engaged. So, thank you.
Terrific, and any level of exposure in our recreation park systems could lead to the careers that you just outlined, so thank you.
Yes, definitely, thank you.
Mr. Rice?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chase. We're excited about your willingness to serve again and again and again and again.
Thank you.
It really does make a big difference. And especially this, the Parks and Recreation is a important factor in quality of life issues
Yes.
throughout the city, especially in underserved areas where sometimes we don't get the kind of attention and resources. Talk about your commitment or thoughts you have about making sure that, our young people especially have access to the kinds of programming that can make a difference. Piggybacking on the programs and projects you've done already, but how can we create some new areas to engage and encourage and involve youngsters and older people in our recreation efforts?
That's huge. I think it's about collaboration. There are a lot of resources throughout the city of Los Angeles that some people just don't know about, that can be directed into, whether it's, you may have a nonprofit youth agency that a person who lives 3 or 4 blocks doesn't even know they're in existence. So it's about forming collaborations, getting the word out, and sharing with community members what's available in their community. And then, and actually what I was thinking about when you first asked me that question is I just got back from Atlanta from a training, and as we flew in and we got lower, I was looking for the parks in certain areas where I kind of look for the diamonds, the baseball diamonds, and the big fields, and I'm saying, where are all the parks? And though we have increased the number of parks, I think we have an opportunity to do an even better job so that the young people, and bringing those young people in the communities to be a part of the conversation when we develop these locations for young people, to make sure that it's not just setting up a park that's not going to be used, rather identifying a location where there are young people who are thirsting for the opportunity to not only get outside, because the reality is we have to balance tech, but to encourage them to get outside to enjoy the parks that we have, the programs, because inside a lot of the recreation centers, it's more than just sports that are taking place. There's some phenomenal activities, and I want to drive as many young people and their families as best we can. And we want to get them when they're just there at 5 and 6, because that's when they're these big, huge, absorbent sponges. So I hope that, I'm excited about this. I don't have all the answers, and that's one of the great things about discovering new opportunities for the city of Los Angeles and our youth.
Good. Well,
Especially
thank you.
those.
Well, we look forward to your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again, Ms. Chase. Obviously, your passion is clear. It comes out of you, and look very much forward to working with you. I mean, all the programs that you're already working on a micro level in the Valley as the acting president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. Now you have a palette here where you could expand. And, everything you said, and one of the other things we didn't mention was we're working on the joint use agreement with LAUSD, where we're trying to open up all the schools, starting with the elementary schools, so we could increase community and green space overnight. Because, land is so scarce here in the city of LA, but using existing resources. And as a commissioner, on the board of Recreation and Parks, you will have your hand in making that happen. So very much excited. And members, if there's no objections, I'd like to approve the appointment of Ms. Nicole Chase to the Board of Recreation and Parks Commission and send this item along to the full council.
Absolutely.
Great. So moved. Thank you so very much.
Councilmember Wu, Councilmember Farrell, Councilmember Price, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting back on agenda, members, if you don't mind, I'd like to take items 1 and 2 together. Mr. Cielo, if you could read those in.
Sure. Item number 1 is a verbal status report from the Greater Los Angeles Zoo Association relative to the selection process for the concessions at the Los Angeles Zoo. Item number 2 is a Los Angeles Zoo Department report relative to the amendment number 5 to the operating agreement with the Greater Los Angeles Zoo Association, which provides an extension to the concessions agreement to August 16th, 2019.
Thank you, and we have both Connie and Denise here at the table joining us. Thank you so very much. And if I could ask Connie to give us a quick update on where GLAZA is on the concessions RFP.
Absolutely. We are on schedule. The schedule that was published in the request for proposal. We received 3 proposals by the deadline last week, and they will be undergoing level 1 review in the next few days. To be followed by the week of March 4th, we will conduct a level 2 review, and as well as tastings and presentations. And then, since we are so far right now on the timeline, our goal is still to present it to our own board, concessions committee, and our board of directors in early March, mid-March, and then move on to try to get it to you all, to council.
Great. Before I get to Denise from the zoo, I'm a little confused. I mean, I hear that some of the proposals are great, so that's good to hear, and that we have some great proposals submitted, and I really look forward to your recommendations. But it's my understanding that one of the actions we're doing for item number 2 is giving yet another extension, another 6-month extension for the 5th time, and you said that you were on track, but can you kind of explain why we need this extension again?
Well,
From your perspective.
yes, we are in the middle of the RFP process, and in order to complete it, we need to extend our own concessions agreement with you all in order to complete this process. And is there something you want to add, Denise?
No, other than the current agreement expires. It's Denise Ferret, I'm the interim zoo director, but the current agreement expires February 17th. And so in order for us to provide enough time to complete the RFP selection process as well as negotiate a new agreement between the city and GLAZA for administering the concessions program, we need additional time to complete that process.
So my question is, and I'm glad we're on track here, and I'm glad we got 3 strong proposals, and I want to make it clear, I'm very comforted by that. But at the same time, I know that the last time we were here, the extension that we gave was going to be, and then I remember asking the question, do you guys need more time, not the 6-month extension that you asked for last time, because I would hate to, at the end of the 6-month extension, for the department and for GLAZA to come back and ask for yet another extension. So can you clarify why we're...
So I believe that at the end of the day, by the time the RFP was completely finalized and ready to be published, we had lost about 6 weeks' worth of time in order to have enough time for proposals to be received, to have a competitive process. We knew that the timeline was not going to make the mark of February 17th. But I assure you, we will not need another extension beyond this 6 months.
It's almost funny now, so I really hope, and it looks like from where we're at and with the proposals, it really looks like this will be the last extension, and I hope really that it is. But before I turn it over to my colleagues, I do want to note for the record that I am not pleased that we are yet here for the 5th extension, and every time it's always the last extension. But more than that, I just wanted to use this opportunity to say that I hope we don't repeat ourselves when it comes to renegotiating the operating agreement between the zoo and GLAZA, which is set to expire in 2022. So hopefully we'll learn from these lessons. And I want to state also that as a new chair of this committee, I'll be continuing on the very good work that was started by my previous chair, Councilmember Mitchell Farrell, where we will continue to take a very deep dive into all the current agreements, as well as the operational structures of GLAZA and the renegotiating terms when that comes around. So, colleagues?
Curran first.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. So all the RFP is out, responses have come back.
Yes.
I don't know what the outreach was and who responded, but did you get a different pool of applicants, or is it same old, same old?
It includes some different applicants.
So there are 10,
No, there are 3.
3 applicants.
Yeah, I mean, we circulated it far and wide, advertised it with AZA, the National Concessionaire Association.
So of the 3, only one is a new one?
There is a new one, yes.
Wait, isn't it 2 new?
There are 2 that are both at the zoo, and there's a mix of, one proposal as a mix of food and beverage and retail, a partner, and the other's a retail. So you could bid on food and beverage and retail, or you could bid food and beverage, or you could bid retail. So we sort of have a mix here.
Well, I share the chairman's just concerned that we get it done as soon as we can. And-
As do we.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think one of the issues has always been that we inherited an operating agreement that was adopted in 1997 to go for 25 years. So that really, I think, has done a disservice to everyone, certainly us as decision makers. And I think even, definitely the zoo, and I think even GLAZA. I'm sure the intentions were great, and we can't second guess them because that's been 22 years ago now already. So I think that's been one of the challenges we've been facing as all of these, concession contracts come up again and again. And there was just a different culture of belief back then that was like, well, let's just approve an agreement for 25 years and we'll look the other way for 25 years and we'll revisit it again in 2022. Times have changed. So I think that's one of the issues. My question with these applicants, and I'm very encouraged to hear mid-March, so in about a month, the recommendations, you'll be sort of finalizing the recommendations to come back before the committee, or at least the commission first. What are some of the offerings in terms of some of the food concessionaires? We want to offer healthier choices for our youth.
Yes, we gave folks an idea of the sorts of things they should be paying attention to in terms of, what would the concession areas look like? What would be the kinds of offerings? What are they doing under the Good Food Purchasing Program? What are the types of menus they would offer to make it appealing to the greatest number of people attending the zoo? I don't know what's in those proposals yet, because they are just going into level 1 review.
Okay, something to look out for.
Yeah,
I know that we
I
have the
think-
good food purchasing policy that's in place in the city, and so we want to make sure those elements are in there in the decision-making. And whatever, when you get into, if there is a negotiation piece of whomever gets approved, that there's an incorporation of healthier foods and snacks for kids.
Yes, and we're looking forward to what they're going to present
Terrific.
to us, and certainly the proposal called out those kinds of things to them.
That's wonderful. I mean, I underscore that because California has amongst the highest obesity rate in children in the United States, and in Los Angeles is even higher. So it's a real issue, and every chance we get to address that in some fundamental way is an opportunity that we have to do just that. So, all right, thanks.
One last question. From staff discussions, I know that the proposals submitted are very satisfactory and promising, but I just want to ask you guys, are you guys both satisfied with the 3 proposals at hand? How do you guys feel?
If you're asking, are we excited about the number coming back? Yes, I feel it's competitive. I would love to have seen more, but...
I have not actually seen the proposals yet, but
Oh.
the companies that have submitted proposals are, viable and successful entities in and of themselves, but I have not actually reviewed the proposals yet.
Because it's what Councilmember Price asked, the fact that there are 3 proposals and 2 of them are current existing providers and 1 is new. So I want to make sure that after your evaluation that it's robust enough, and once it gets turned over to the commission and when zoo staff looks at it, that it's going to be robust and it fills all the check marks and everything that we're looking for.
Certainly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, I'd like to receive and file this item today. Receive and file item number 1 on today's agenda and move to approve item number 2. Right, that's what we're doing? Okay, so, any objections? Nope.
No objections? Well, and it looks like perhaps they'll be coming back to this committee in about 2 months then, once the process has gone forward in terms of the recommendations?
Yes, it may even be the end of next month.
At least for the recommendation on the concessionaire moving forward, the agreement that we need to be working on simultaneously, which is a 1981 agreement.
Right.
That needs to be updated.
81.
Yes.
Not 97.
97 was correct for the operating agreement,
Right, but
but the concessions
concessions
agreement
81.
is a 1981
Oh,
agreement.
wow.
Yes.
And
Wow.
that is what we have to update. It's a separate agreement from the operating agreement. The operating agreement, though, extended its term. So every time when we're talking about the term, we have to amend the operating agreement. But the concessions agreement between the city and GLASA is from 1981.
81, were you
Uh-huh.
even born, David?
So what's the term going to be then of these new agreements? 5 years or 2 5-year terms? Or
For the proposal that we let out was a 15-year agreement. I think it was 10 years plus a 5-year renewal option.
So dietary awareness has shifted just a little bit since 1981,
Just a bit.
just a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to, like I said, receive and file item number 1 and approve item number 2. And as Councilman O'Farrell stated, this operational agreement is actually older than the Olympics. But I think we're going to do this before, we could do this before the next Olympics get here, right?
I believe so, yes.
I hope so. Well, thank you, and that'll be moved, and thank you, and I think that's it on the agenda.
You said that, sir.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So, that's it. So, do we have any other business before us? Great, then this meeting is adjourned.
Well done, Mr. Chair.
That's quick, huh?
Oh, sure.